Hello, everyone. My name is Brendan Marr. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. And welcome to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Today we're going to talk about the origins of Rey. In particular, I'm going to ask the question, how can Rey be nobody and a Palpatine at the same time? Now, I am not going to be talking behind the scenes. I am not going to be putting on a tinfoil hat and saying, gee, what were the creators thinking? Let me try to figure out what the conspiracy is. No. I am not the least bit interested in that. We're going to talk about what's on screen. And the idea that Rey can be a nobody and a Palpatine. Okay, let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start, as Maria von Trapp would say. Rey was the child of the son of the Emperor. Rey is the Emperor's granddaughter. Rey's parents hid her on Jakku, or rather, sold her to Unkar Plutt to keep her safe. And then they left. Ochia Bestoon was sent by the Emperor, or Palpatine, no longer an Emperor. Ochi was sent to collect Rey and bring her to Palpatine. Ochi intercepted Rey's parents, and after they refused to tell him where she was, he killed them. And Rey grew up on Jakku under the quote-unquote tutelage of Unkar Plutt, basically working as a slave, or more or less a scavenger, having to basically rely on herself. Rey did not know her parents' fate, but always hoped that they would come back for her. She grew up with that desire. Now, throughout the trilogy, we seem to understand or get the idea that Rey knew the truth, that her parents were nobody who left her on Jakku, but maybe had always tried to suppress that idea in her mind and try to deny the truth. But what truth did she know? Rey knew her parents were nobody. Now, it's never made entirely clear, but it seems to suggest throughout the trilogy that Rey hoped her parents were somebody important. Someone great, someone heroic. Somebody would come back for her. And maybe some people who were part of some grand adventure. But it seems that deep inside she knew the truth. That her parents were nobody of importance. That they were never going to come back for her. And that they were not part of any great legacy. Rey heard this several times. Maz told her, whomever you're waiting for on Jakku, they're never coming back. Saying, you already know the truth. That's what Maz says to Rey. In your heart. And then later, Kylo Ren basically says, you know who they are, but you've been denying it. And we see that Rey's hopes were shattered, and that she had only herself to rely on. Or did she? Now, I usually don't like to talk about what's in the novels, but the Rise of Skywalker novelization reveals some very important things. Palpatine, as seen in the Rise of Skywalker, is in a clone body. Let me be clear. Palpatine is not a clone. His spirit inhabits a clone body. We also learned from the novelization that Rey's father was a failed clone. A failed clone body. Palpatine, or at least his followers on Exegol, seemed to be creating clone bodies that could house Palpatine's spirit. But as we saw with his clone body in the Rise of Skywalker, the spirit of Palpatine is so potent that his clone bodies could not hold his essence very well. And that is why he's hooked up to that life support machine and seems to be living in sort of a Frankensteinian kind of way. The idea that his body, or the bodies that they made for him, could barely support him. And it looked like he had to grow clones of Snoke to basically suck their energy just to stay alive. So it seems that they were never able to really make a clone body that worked for Palpatine. One of their attempts at a clone body was what became Palpatine's son. But that clone was a failure. That clone had no force sensitivity, and Palpatine always saw that clone as a disappointment. Well, decided, you know what? Even though this son of mine, quote unquote, is a disappointment, I'm going to keep him around with the hopes that maybe he'll have a child that I can then inhabit. And that child, of course, was Rey. It seems that Palpatine wanted Rey so that he, at least in his own words, could possess her body. Basically saying, kill me and I'll take over your body. Now, a lot of this is revealed to us in the novelization. And what it tells us is, as I've been saying for quite a while, Rey is not strong in the Force because of her grandfather. Because Rey's own father had no Force sensitivity. Rey's strength came from two things. A, from herself, and B, from the dyad with Kylo Ren. So Rey, we learn, is, her strength comes from herself, not from her father. It is my theory that Force sensitivity is not genetic. Or should I say hereditary? Except in the case of the Skywalker family. Now that's my theory. But now we know the story of Rey's lineage. We're going to take a short break to hear about our sponsor, and when I come back, we will discuss how she can be a nobody and a Palpatine. See you in a minute. Hello there, this is Brennan Marr, host of Page Turners They Were Not, a Star Wars podcast. And I'm here to tell you about Anchor. Anchor is the best way to make a podcast. Why is that? Well, first off, it's free. Yes, you heard me right. Anchor is free. Anchor has all the tools you need to make a podcast from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you on various platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can make money from your podcast. And get this, with no minimum listenership. That means you can make money even if no one listens to your podcast. That, of course, is not ideal, as Anchor will allow you to spread your podcast, bring in more viewers, and you can make more money because of it. Everything you need to make a podcast is in one place on Anchor. If you're interested, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Thank you, and may the Force be with you. Okay, and that was a word about Anchor. Okay. Rey is a nobody who becomes a somebody. Now, what does that mean that she's a nobody? I think when we say that, that means that she comes from no important lineage. Now, we learn, of course, that that's not entirely true. But I think that maybe not lineage, but her hope that her parents were somebody important. Rey clearly knew the stories of the rebellion against the Empire. Knew of Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. And knew about the great stories that came before. And I think Rey was hoping that she was part of that. And hoping that maybe her parents were great heroes. Now, her parents were heroes in keeping Rey safe. But they weren't the kind of heroes that Rey wanted. Now, how can Rey be a nobody and a Palpatine? Well, let's be clear. The cave on Octo, I think I understand it better now. That is a dark side cave. That cave was calling to her. She could feel it during her first lesson with Luke. She could feel the dark side cave calling to her. And she went straight for it, as Luke said. The cave claimed it could answer her questions about who her parents were. That was the temptation to go into the cave. Rey gave into the temptation and jumped in and saw in the mirror. The cave was tempting her, saying, I could show you your parents. Or at least show her parents the way Rey wanted to see them. That's what the dark side does. It shows people what they want to see that might tempt them to do bad. Rey was hoping the cave would show her parents as great heroes. At least that's how I interpret it. But the cave showed her herself. She later told Kylo, "I've never felt so alone." But let's be clear. Why did the cave show her just herself? Well, I believe that the cave was trying to what's the right word? The cave was trying to diminish her. No, that's not the right word. I'm trying to think of the right word. The dark side cave was showing her just herself. Was trying to make her give up. The cave was trying to humiliate her. Or lower her. To make her feel truly alone. Now, why did it want to make her feel alone? Demoralize is the word I was looking for. The cave wants to demoralize Rey. Now, why did the cave want to demoralize Rey? Well, now mind you, everything I'm saying is my own opinion and my own theory. But I believe that the cave was going to demoralize her to the point where she would reach out and join the dark side. I think that's what the cave was trying to do. I don't believe the cave was showing her, quote unquote, the truth. It was showing some truth in that she had only herself. But let's be clear. Did Rey have only herself? She did for many years, yes. But was Rey truly alone? No. She had Finn. Later she had Poe. She had Leia. She had Chewie. She had R2. Rey was never alone. At least not at that point in her life. The cave was twisting the truth by telling her she was alone. When in reality she wasn't. Now, maybe in Rey's heart she felt alone, yes. But she had friends who loved her. The cave was trying to take that all away. I think with the hope that Rey would embrace the dark side. I believe that Ben Solo felt a loneliness that caused him to embrace the dark side. His mom sent him away. His dad wasn't around. His uncle was afraid of him. Ben was alone and turned to the dark side. Maybe the cave was trying to make Rey feel so alone that she would embrace the dark side. Now, many people took strength from the idea that Rey was a nobody who chose to become a somebody. Or rather, many people hoped that Rey would be of no important lineage so that she could be a hero that became a hero based on her own choices and not the lineage that she came from. Let me give a slight rebuttal to that idea. The fact that Rey's grandfather is Palpatine doesn't make Rey anybody. She never had a relationship with Grandpa Palpy. Her dad didn't have a good relationship with his own father. There was never any connection there. Rey Rey is a nobody who chooses her own destiny, teaching us that no matter where we come from, no matter who our parents or grandparents are, no matter our relationships with them, we all choose our own destiny. And I believe that message is there and was not in any way diluted by the revelation that Palpatine was her grandfather. Rey is a nobody who got to choose her own destiny and chose to be part of the Skywalker legacy. Now, she could have said at the end, I'm just Rey. But it's important to note that Rey chose her lineage, chose who she belonged to, chose who she was in her heart. So to put it succinctly, Rey is a nobody. Screw Palpatine. So those are some thoughts. There's so much more we could say. But those are some thoughts on Rey is a nobody who becomes a somebody. And the fact that Palpatine's her grandfather has nothing to do with it. And we all can take strength to know that no matter where we come from, we get to choose who we are. My name is Brendan Marr. That noise you're hearing is my ventilator. Thank you for tuning in to Page Turners They Were Not, my Star Wars podcast. Tomorrow will be a special episode for Juneteenth, commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. So tune in tomorrow for that episode. My name is Brendan Marr. May the Force be with you.